So you brought a few things with you today. Tell us about the Hummer High Rise feeder that you brought.
Just happens. I've got one right here. I'll put it down for a second. And got a promo of the box right here.
Yeah.
And I said, this is worth buying the product just to get this nice box. And it's called the Hummer High Rise. And there's a reason. It's a nice saucer hummingbird feeder.
Just
Easy
pops
to take
right
apart.
Off, right.
And it holds 8 ounces of fluid. So easy to clean. It's just nothing to this. Top snaps on. Got 3 feeding ports, and the perch is way up here. And the reason for that is when it's hanging outside and the bird comes to feed, it's up here, and you can see the bird. A lot of times in a lot of feeders, the bird's on the perch. You can't see it. It's going to be on the back side. Especially outside of a window, they tend to eat on the outside. So you'll see the birds all around this. And it also has a built-in ant moat. So when rainwater collects here, you can put water in here. The ants can't come down here and get across to attack your feeder. That keeps them out. So it's a great little feeder. And I especially love to put these out in the wintertime. So when you're waiting on a winter hummingbird to show up, and I do encourage everybody to do that, because there's a lot of birds coming to the south during the wintertime. The western birds come here. I suspect some of our eastern birds go to the west, and they'll spend the winter there. As long as they can find enough insects, they certainly can in the south and southeast. They'll be around. So if you put a feeder out, you have a chance of seeing a bird in the wintertime. And it'll probably not be a species that's common around your area. But this is a good one to do because it doesn't leak or drip. The food can stay in there a long time. You just monitor it and make sure it's not turning. If it gets cloudy, you have to change it. But in the wintertime, it's kind of like being in a refrigerator. It'll last much longer, so you don't have as much maintenance. And you've got a chance to see a winter hummingbird. And there's no dripping or leaking when the sun hits it, so you don't have much to do.
Yeah, it's very easy and low maintenance. I know I have one myself, and you can go just to just about any retailer and find out about the Hummer High Rise. Or if your retailer doesn't have that, I'm sure you can just go to them and ask them what's the best hummingbird feeder and get them to tell you a little bit about it. It does make a difference.
And this is a good
make
one.
A difference. Yeah. So let's talk about the seed feeder that you brought as well.
This is another one that's good to have just for the label. It's worth the whole purchase right here. It's a pretty label. This is just a nice standard tube feeder. If you're going to have one feeder in your yard, I suggest just a standard tube feeder. And I shouldn't call this standard because it's great plastic, metal ports, not some cheap plastic ports that if a squirrel gets on it, they'll tear it up. And it holds a good amount of seed. It also, this particular feeder that we put out actually comes with soft metal, hard metal perches and soft plastic covers that go on it. They hold on very well, and I can put them on here. We get a whole. You might not want the perches. You can put them on or not. Some people like the soft perch covers, and some people don't care for them. You go whichever way you want to. The nice thing about this feeder, other than it's very durable, squirrels have a hard time destroying this feeder. It holds a lot, but when it comes time to cleaning the feeder, which a lot of people really hate to clean these feeders, you can open the top and just pop the bottom off. There's no deconstruction. You run a bottle brush in and out a few times, put the water in both sides, it's clean.
Yeah.
That's really nice, and it's back together.
Yeah, it's
and the
very
bottom stays well.
easy.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
And I love these things. I wouldn't have one without a removable bottom like that. I've had others in the past. You can't clean them. They stay dirty.
You can't get that out of the bottom.
You have to get the screwdriver and pliers, and it's not worth it. This is easy.
It's very easy.
It's
So
called a terrific tube.
And how?
Of course, it is a terrific tube feeder.
Yeah. And so how often should you clean out your feeders?
You know, it depends on the weather, how much rain has hit it and gotten in, what kind of seed you're running. Typically look at it. If it's getting a lot of dirt down in here, if you see stuff sticking, especially if you see mold and stuff, you need to clean it right then. But when it's time to feed this, fill this thing up, just take a look. It'll be empty. You'll see if old dirt and seed particles are collecting on top of these, it's time to clean the feeder.
Right.
And it's always good just maybe at least once a week, go out and wipe off the perches around the ports with a cloth to clean them off, because that's where the birds are feeding at.
Yeah. Yeah. And And it seems like it's good for pretty much all sizes of birds, right? Or
Yes.
is it?
It will. Of course, all the small birds can fit on there.
Yeah.
You probably won't see a dove on there, which may be a really good thing. And grackles have a hard time because it's hard for them to get on here. But all the other birds won't have a problem. If you have a woodpecker or something, they'll just come up and cling. Sometimes they'll kind of hang on the lower perch and reach up to the upper end to feed. But you'll also see cardinals able to work these perches. They're just long enough to handle all the birds you want to see, but not so long as to get some of the big birds you don't want to see.
It is funny when the woodpeckers come and feed at our tube feeders. I always say they're doing their yoga because
Yeah.
they can manipulate their bodies around in so many ways to get the food out.
Yes, they can.
They are really like agile birds.